Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots.
Put 'em up! Put 'em up!
We don't make mistakes here. We just have happy accidents.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a bit late in the day, and this is one of these last-minute matches when people decide they're going to play, and if I happen to be busy or lying sleeping, then I tend to miss them, which has happened with a couple of the matches. Plus, about one of them was in the middle of the night. Again, just for your interest, the countdown music is Down the Street Blues by the Unicorn Heads, which is free to download from the YouTube audio library, because I know it does make your toes tap, but you just won't admit it. Good evening to Slim. You can give me an update with your match against Albie. Good evening to Albie. Good evening to Semi-Pro and Run Out Rob. It is a last minute thing, but it is a one-loss side match. Race to 13. You know that Real Poland Power is Stub, and the other reason his name is Stub is because his name doesn't fit into the little window. So that's why that's another reason he's called Stub. As I'll be just ignoring him at the moment. Oh well, he'll be forfeited then. Anyway, it's Race to 13, and it's between Stub from the USA and MC-CLARKY from the United Kingdom. And I don't know what's going to happen. I wonder how long Stubb's patience will hold out. Matt doesn't want to get drawn into that type of game. If he plays solid and sensible, he should be the favourite, but it might be closer than we think. Stubb knows now that it's backs to the wall and it's win at all costs. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't know if Steve's intended to join, because he's not sent me a message. Because I never, just to make it clear, I never hassle Steve or send any messages to him to ask him to come into commentary. That's entirely up to him. That's how it's been from the start. So if he notices the match is on and he wants to join, then he's more than welcome. But I don't go hounding him. That's up to him. Let me have a quick look. Well, I've got Discord on. I'm not in the commentary booth, but I've got it on, so I'll another last minute look in a minute or two. Matches on the schedule. Well, there was one scheduled earlier today, but that's for more than a week's time. We'll have a quick look. It's the one between Cobra and Tommy. They've scheduled for a week tomorrow. At 6:35 PM for some strange reason. I don't know why, but the one reason I do know is more than likely because Cobra's up early. He's an early bird like me, so he needs to get the match done and over with so he can at least get a few hours sleep. So that's another reason it would be at 6:35 PM. So that, remember, is a winner's side match, but that's a long ways away. We may well have other matches before then, and this is one of them, the one that's just about to go ahead. So, we've had 3 records broken today in the UK weather. All-time records, that is. We had the hottest day ever in southeast Scotland, not southwest Scotland where I live, because it was actually cooler here today. It only got up to about 25 or 26. But the house is still really warm because, again, as I said before, I've got my windows closed. They're never open during the summer. Because I suffer from bad hay fever, and so that's one reason I keep the windows closed. So the temperature right in front of me right now, believe it or not, is 86 degrees in this room. And the PC's been on all day. We had a record temperature down in southeast England today. They reached 100 and something or other, but the figures are still not in, and it was also the hottest day ever in Wales. So 3 records have been broken, and then the heat wave ends through the night and into tomorrow. It's back to sort of normal weather. So that's the weather. That's the weather details for you. I hope everybody's okay and staying cool wherever they are. I was looking at the temperature. I've got temperatures of various places on my phone, and they're talking about the temperatures down in England. I was looking at the temperature in Death Valley today, and the forecast today was 52 degrees, which is probably about 114 Fahrenheit. That's a cool day in Death Valley. So it is. Right, who else is there? Albie sent one back that suited me better. Well, I'd go and have a look at it, Slim, and double check, see what you think. Again, as I say, if it's tomorrow night, not a problem. If it's Thursday, no later than 7 PM British summer time, that would be 8 PM Albinarius time, because I've got to go back to my work on Friday morning. Or whatever time suits you both, and if it doesn't suit me, then that's tough. That's just the way it has to be. So the room should be going up. We are almost there. I'm going to have a quick look in Discord. No sign of Steve in there, so the assumption is he's busy and he's got other things to do. So I'm just going to close that down. That's one less process running in the background. We can get the thing shut down. Right, so we are good to go. I think the table's at the right colour, or the cloth colour is. I'm in, nobody's in, and we're all set. So it's winner breaks, race to 13, and of course, need to explain the rules of cribbage. It's simple. Pot a ball, you have to pot the partner ball that makes the total points value add up to 15 for each combination of 2 sets of balls. It's as simple as that, and then whoever gets 5 cribbages, either with or without the final 15 ball, is the winner of the rack. And we'll continue breaking until they miss. 13-10 to Matt, says Slim. Well, neither of them are keen to get in the room. I'll have a quick drink while I'm waiting. Matt's finally got in. They will lag for the break. Right, so Stub has arrived. I've lost my picture. Hang on a minute. In fact, VP4 has crashed. That is weird. That is totally weird. VP4 just decided to die, so we're going to miss the lag while I get back in. And I'll tell you, there's strange things happen with this game. I never even tabbed out. So we'll know who won the lag in a minute. Well, it was Matt won the lag. In fact, Stub might have won it, and I don't think Stub would have given the break to him. And in fact, I think it's straight away it's come up dry. No, mine just died there. It just totally died. So the 9 and 6 are wide open. And looking at the table, then really the only other sort of obvious combination would be the 1 and draw back for that 14. Mind you, he's played the 3, so is that the 12 in the middle of the table? Yes, it is. So 12 and 3. I think he's trying to get back onto the rail for that 1 and 14. He should be fine. Now, he might try and get in between the 7 and 8. No, he's trying to open balls, which has been successful because he's now in the 11 and 4, although he's slightly the wrong side of the 11. Cue ball spinning like a top. And the 10 and the 5 are wide open, although he's not going to be shooting them at the moment. So it's looking likely like it's a rack against the break here for Stubb. And a good start. Well, now he's got an awkward. He's got himself in trouble here. Yeah, he's looking at the pot into the side, but he's now going to. If he's looking at the 2, I think he's definitely looking at the pot. I thought he's looking at the 2, but if he's potting this 3 ball, he might jack up and try and come back to the rail and kick across to take it up the table. I don't think. No, he's managed to hold it. The angle was better than I thought it was. Did I say the 13? Why did I say that when it was the 5? Because it's that time of night, folks, so mistakes are becoming thick and fast. Good evening to Jose. So Stubb off the mat, but I think he's had exactly the same thing happen. Both players are broke. Both players are broke dry. The only difference so far is that Stubb has managed to capitalise on that first rack. But this table's not going to be offering an awful lot of opportunities here for Matt. This is ugly. I mean, really ugly. I mean, how creative do you need to be to get anything out of this? Well, he tried the combo in the 13 and tried to actually. In fact, he did get on that 2 ball. It would have been a great shot if he'd managed to pull it off. So 12 up table, and we've got the 13 over the corner, but obviously we know where the 2 is. We've got I mean, this is still a really bad table. I wonder whether Stubb's going to start doing things to try and move balls here. No. See, again, the way he's finishing that 6, it's not great for an angle to make the combo in the 13 and be able to see that 2 ball anywhere. But he's looking at the 6 and trying to squeeze out for the 9, which is there. So he's got his work cut out here to pick his way through these. Now, if anything, he would have much rather got on that 2 ball first there. If that cue ball had travelled into the table, he would have been okay to play the 2 into the side, then the 13. So he's sort of in no man's land here. Yeah, he's going to have to think a fair wee bit with this one. I mean, he's looking to just drop out for this 8 ball into the side. And it does go. And that's now opened this corner pocket, which is handy. That also frees up the 5, or makes the 5 a lot more accessible. Although it's still blocked with the 13, which is why he would have been better to, had he got on that too, he would have opened this pocket as well, but he's now gone funny again. So he could take the 11, he could run up the table for the 4, but he's just going to drop through and leave the cut in this 10 ball. Unless he's going up above. He's going up above to open up the angle, which is a sensible shot. And he should be 2-0. So this is likely to happen either way early on. I mean, Matt's done nothing wrong other than break and break dry. And of course, the other thing is, Stubb broke dry and left absolutely nothing on for Matt. And that's about 3 balls on the break. So now we've got the 14, the 6, and I think that's the 2 of the cribbage balls. So he's got to get those first. This is suddenly gone pear-shaped. I don't know what the hell he's done there, but he's made a proper cock up there. I think Stubbs got it wrong with what he needed there. Yeah, I think he's got himself confused. There was 3 balls to make the cribbages, and he's totally forgotten about the 14. Yeah, he's potted the wrong ball. Yeah, he's lost the plot there, Stubb. Well, it's a mistake by Stubb, whatever way you look at it. The question is whether Matt can take advantage of it. Good evening to Cobra. So, we never thought we would see that. No, it doesn't mean you have to pot them in any particular order. Stubb hasn't grasped it right here. I mean, when you see 3 cribbage balls on the left-hand side of the HUD, you don't have to pot them in the order they are in the HUD. And that's immaterial. He potted the wrong cribbage ball. He potted a ball that wasn't a cribbage ball. That's why he's not at the table. Well, I wonder if we'll ever see that in the rest of the tournament. That's why I got myself confused there. I'm saying, well, the 14's out in the open. He just needs to get past the 11 ball to see the 14, and he ends up potting whatever ball he potted into the side. I don't know what ball it was, but it certainly wasn't any of his cribbage balls. And he can consider himself lucky that Matt hasn't been able to take advantage of that. Now look at the table. Is Stubb going to go for a blast? Well, I can't think he's going to do anything other than that, playing this 12. And this is where he's having to just be lucky if he does something like that. And this is a surefire way to more than likely sell out the rack if he doesn't get lucky. I mean, there's a slim chance of coming out on top in this 3 ball. Let's see what happens here. Well, there you go. I mean, that's... Yeah, and he's had a blast. You see, again, that's one way to just fritter away racks when he can't come up with something a wee bit more sensible. And Matt's studying the table, and again, the table's not great. The 4 ball's tied up, the 11's in the open, the 14 is cuttable, but the 1's barely accessible where it is. So it's a horrible table. The 5's locked up, the 10's in the open, so there is no clearly available cribbage here. The 4 ball doesn't go anywhere. He's just trying to break it out and get a roll here, and that'll do. Had to take some sort of risk. Stubbs says the game's bullshit. Is that right, Albie? Well, Stubbs not paying attention, that's his problem. Well, here's another risky shot. Trying to just nudge balls out the way to open up that 3, and he's locked the 3 back up, and he's missed the 12. Game lied, told me shoot the 6, then the 2, then was new choices. Well, Stubb must be out of sync then. I've just told him that in the chat. Anyway, he's back at the table. He's on 3 cribbages. Potting the 12 and again trying to break the 3 out. So he's suddenly become second favourite for this rack. Now again, the obvious thing you do here is just lock balls up and give Matt ball in hand. And that was a sensible shot for once. But although the bad thing about it, when I say sensible, is Matt could take ball in hand now. I think that 5 ball is very tight. I mean, he's got to get really good on it, and the problem with that is he still wants to have an angle to get into those balls. He might be better. He might be better finishing slightly lower than the 5 and trying to squeeze it in off the jaw and coming out and leaving an angle in the 14. So this is tough. But he's got the angle, but he's got to get this right off that knuckle. And he can't force it. Oh, he might be lucky here. That might have worked out a treat. Because that 15 and 3 are a reasonable combo. Now, I don't know whether he wants to try and run into this. He's trying to run into it. I don't necessarily think that was the wisest of moves. He's now got himself a dodgy cut in the 12. And got to be careful with the pace of this, because this could bounce round the corner here and block on that 15. Well, that was a good shot. And an important rack for Matt to come out and top. And he worked well to get that done. And it gets him on the board. And of course, with the break and a chance if he can get a ball or 2 and get lucky on the cribbage ball to try and square the match. Still breaking from the side, and again, that's 2 breaks from Matt and 2 dry breaks. Now, is he going to go as long as Albinario went before he suddenly had I thought, and decided to change his brake, because that's 2 brakes and no joy. So he should be getting that change to braking down the middle, because it's costing him racks because of it. Stubb said it should be 3-0 to me. Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Again, he's trying to get things opened up. Well, the 13 ball, it goes, but the problem there is he's running away up the table. And he's looking for the 1 and 14. This is a wee bit tricky to hold the cue ball as well. He might try and get onto this, either the 13 or the 2. One of the 2 would do. He could go on the 7 and the 8, because they're available. 11's up table, 4's tied up with the 6. And that's a 12 and 3, so they're available. So he doesn't have to disturb anything, he doesn't have to move anything. Other than pick off balls. And he's potted the 12, and he can just see the cutting edge and the potting edge of this 3. That couldn't have landed any better for him. Now he's going to have to go 13. I don't know whether he wants to try and hold that off, or whether he would do the sensible thing and come up and down the table to get back on the 2. I mean, this has got to go up the table and back down. I can't believe he's ever going to try and put this and baby it in and hold the cue ball up here somewhere. Far safer going up and down, I think. He just has to make sure he doesn't run into the 11 ball. Well, don't say I didn't mention it. Commentator's eye called it again. And now his lifeline is the fact that the 6 and the 4 are tied up and they're not set as a combo. So he's going for the reverse bank, I think. He's not lining up the cut. He's coming back into this pocket. And, well, when Matt gets to the table, he's only got the 13 and the 2 to go for. He'll probably take ball in hand. And everything else that he needs is tied up. And this is the main problem here. And looking at the 2 of them, it's not a combo. You need to be really good behind that to try and cut the 6 across the 4 to make the pot. I don't like that break from the side at all. Well, that was a good shot. And he's on the 11. I think when you're breaking from the side and you're going to the side rail with the cue ball and bouncing across the table, the odds are the cue ball's going to get kicked somewhere. To me, the safer breaks is a straight up and down and bring the cue ball back to the bottom rail. And especially the other thing is we've seen guys breaking at a slight angle and hitting the top ball, and then of course the problem then is they're coming back and then they're scratching the corner pocket. Up and down is by far the safest break as far as I see. Oh dear, he's trying to pinch. He's trying to pinch a bit there. And I don't think that it's any worth Stubb taking ball in hand. Yeah, he just played the little combo. And 13 and 2 is in the open. Well, I say the 13 and 2. He obviously would have to. He would have to get rid of the 7. The 7 might be a killer here now that I look at it, because that 8 ball, having looked at it, doesn't go down the rail. It's blocked. So this rack isn't over yet. And well, now he's got to get a little tiny feather of right on this. No, he didn't. He just managed to get it playing ball. So this for the rack. So it's going to open up that 2 rack gap again. Oh dear, what a miss there. Now, what did I say about a little feather of right on that cue ball? And the reason for that is that the line that the cue ball would take would shallower the angle for the cut. And Stubb didn't do it. He hit it plain ball. He thought he could get there and cut it easy enough, but he didn't. So, again, that little tiny feather of right English. He was worried about maybe running into that ball, but if he just got a tiny feather of it, it would have taken maybe a more congenial path to make the cut on the ball easier. So it's a mistake anyway, whatever way you look at it. And it's gifted Matt the chance to square the match. Now, he obviously has to remember the 15 ball's going to get spotted. So he needs to get good on it, and that'll do very nicely. So the mistakes from Stubb, he's made the most glaring one he's made was having 3 balls in the break and then potting 2 of his partner cribbage balls, and then on the 3rd one he potted completely the different ball from the one that showed in the HUD, and he started blaming the game. He never held his hands up and said, I made a cock up, but we all saw it. It's on video, you can re-watch it. Now again, I never watched where Matt was breaking from there, but it's his 3rd dry break. I mean, this is just crazy. 3 breaks, there's 15 balls on the table and a big triangle, and not one of them is going to a hole. So, well, I'm saying nothing else. Sooner or later he'll listen. I presume he just broke from the side again. I never seen it. I was looking over at the chat, but I'm guessing that's what he did. Who's all in this room? Sakul and Edbal, get them out of that room and tell them to come into the stream. Well, I've missed that again, and I think I Stubb cocked up again. What happened there? I was looking to see who was in the room there, and I missed what he did. Surely he's not...
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Surely he's not cocked up again. One of you guys must have been paying attention there when I was messing about. Because Stubbs shocked again that he hasn't potted the partner ball. We've got obviously the 3 and 1 tied up. I made the 13 and the 2, that's a crib. Well, Stubb seems to think that he's potting. Stubb thinks he's potting crib balls, and he's convinced that things aren't working. Now, if he was out of sync, he would be more than aware he was out of sync, because the cue ball would be jumping all over the place when Matt was shooting. Now he's saying Matt's cheating. And Matt just needs to pay no attention to it at all. Stubb possibly could be out of sync. You know, with the stuff that's been going on with his connection. His connection's been acting funny. There's been times when he's had loads of lag before his cue appears, and then there's times where it's appearing fine. But if he's thinking he's seeing balls in the HUD that are the ones he should be potting, and he's going to pot them, and then it's coming up that it's a foul, then there's a strong possibility he could be out of sync. Oi. Alright, so he hooked himself, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not out of sync, that's just hooking yourself. But anyway, Matt looking to capitalise on it. That takes him to 4 cribbages. And he's not nice on this 3 ball. I mean, he could pot the 4. The 4's open, and the cue ball can certainly run up the table, and the 11's wide open into all the pockets in the table. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, that's a big mistake. He had the table at his mercy, and it's things like that that'll just lose you the match. And that is a cracking shot to recover. That is a cracking shot. Shot of the night so far, a combo at that angle, and in it goes. And that is some recovery shot. And Matt goes into the lead for the first time. And would you believe it? He scratches in the break. Well, Matt's break is down the shithole, for want of a better description. First of all, he's had 3 breaks and potted nothing. Then he's broke and potted something, and it was a cue ball. So if everybody's got practice to do and homework to do, he's got plenty of evidence that it's going to have to be the break. And break down the middle. Get that notion out your head of breaking from the side. So Stubb has been reprieved with a chance to square the match. Now that's probably going to end up in a combo, that 11 and 3. They're absolutely plumb. And that's the 13 that's in the corner. Well, he's going to have to get this right. I mean, he's going to have to get this right, and he has done. He's got the spin working. That was never a guarantee he was going to get good on the 14, but he's got there. And now the hard work starts. He's going to have to play the combo. I think stub. I mean, look at the HUD. It's showing the 3 ball, right? Now, why is he playing the 2? And why did he pot the 12? Right, you guys are witnessing this. Is it me that's out of sync? No, I'm not out of sync. Stubbs making a complete hash of this, as far as I can see. Why would he have taken it? Why didn't he play the combo? The 4's out in the open, right? He plays the combo in the 3-11. He was on it to play it, and he can get up the table for the 4. Alright, I'm not out of sync because I know that he should have been playing the 3 ball, and I know that he potted the 2, and I know that the HUD says it's a foul. Everybody's seen this. I'm going to leave the room. Right? It's no different. The table's no different from what it was. I think Stubbs out of sync, or he can't count. I think that also could be an excuse. But if he restarts VP4, that takes any doubt of that out of the equation. But I'm happy that I'm not out of sync. All you guys saw what he did there, and like before, he's never going to listen. You know, you didn't make them right. But what it means is that, well, Matt has left himself really square on this 15. And he's overcut it. Is it going to get there? Oh, it just ran in its last legs. I mean, look at the look at the pace in that. Now, did anybody watch where Matt broke from there? Because again, I was looking at the replay and I missed it. But he's potted 2 balls in the break. He needs the 11 and the 13 for the cribbage, and the obvious problem there is that the 13 is going to have to be a bank. The 11 would have to be a cut across combo, which is very tight. But he's played the bank, he's got the bank, and now he's not in a great side here for this combo. Let's have a look. That's I think, that's maybe too close to work with, so he's potted the 1 instead. Well, you must admit, guys, there's strange things happening in this match, and it's all Stubbs. I think Stubbs been on some sort of chemical before this match started, because there's weird things going on, and I think most of the weird things that are going on in his head. So we've definitely got a poor example of the American educational system if he's got an arithmetical problem. He's a bit thick, as we would say over here. Well, this has got to be played well, unless he's taking huge risks. You know, he's got away with it. And he's missed a 12. I mean, this was not a difficult cut. But Stubbs finding ways to miss them tonight. But he's making way too many mistakes to survive in this tournament. I'll tell you that straight away. And good thing to see is Matt's not getting involved in any conversation. Stubbs ranting away. You guys can't see the chat, but he is ranting. 10 to the dozen, as we say over here. Matt's got himself in trouble. 6 ball is the cribbage ball, but he can't shoot it. And I think Stubbs getting himself confused with the logistics of this game. The basic thing about it is that you do have to be on the ball as to what ball you're going to pot next. If you're not paying any attention to the hunt, you know what I've said before is don't pot the cribbage ball until you know where you're going next. But the other thing is don't pot the cribbage ball until not only you know where you're going next, but you do know what the next cribbage ball is going to be. It's just crazy, the silly things he's done. Well, he's gone for the crazy breakout shot. And now, well, he certainly opened him up. So we're tied at 2 cribbages all, and he should really be out here. Unless he can find something else that he can do daft things with. I mean, $11 ball takes him to 4, and then he's got to be rolling just through to the rail to play the 6 down the table and hold for the 9. Well, you know what the room chat is. It's all just abuse. I mean, I can give you it word for word. Stubbs' last sentence was "fuck this game." I mean, it's not literally clever dialogue that he's typing. You're not missing anything. Well, I think you're right, Cobra. It seems to me more than obvious that, you know, if you're trying a breakout, you must try to break balls out when you're potting a cribbage ball, not when you're. I mean, you get really desperate when you're trying to break out balls to free up a cribbage ball, because that's all down to luck at the end of the day. There's no real skill involved in that. You're just hitting and hoping that the ball rolls clear somewhere and you can get a pocket for it. You must use common sense to try and break out other balls, and above all, it has to be off the partner ball and nothing else. So Stubbs back to within 1. this table is a bit of a problem in terms of where a couple of the balls are to get to them. Looking up here, we've obviously got the 6 blocking the 10. We've got the 9, sorry, not the 9, the 1 in the side rail and the 10's awkward. You know, that's blocked with the 6. You've got the 2 up table, but the 13 is, where the hell is the 13? Or has he just spotted that? Aye, he has. So this is where the problems start, right here. And if you can't manufacture something here, and let's be honest, he shouldn't be trying to do anything stupid here. He's looking at the combo in the 6, but I mean, that's put it this way, that's probably easier than the combo that Matt played earlier on in the match. That combo from where he's sitting. You know, he's lost for ideas here, but he's having to go for it and try and hold the cue ball to be able to play the 9. And the saving grace might be the fact that the 12 has locked itself to the 11. Now, that isn't a difficult combo though. The problem would be that you'd have to get the cue ball out for the 4. So 14-1. Obviously we've got the 9 and the 6 that are free, and then of course this is the big problem. And how's Matt going to try and deal with that? Of course, it's 2 Matts that are playing in this match tonight. Stubbs' first name's Matt, and Matt's first name's Matt. Well, I think the idea is in place here. He's got to leave himself the big cut angle like that. And the only thing he doesn't want to do is scratch. He's trying to drop right down here, I think, for this combo. I think that's the plan, but he must get good on it. Ideally, he would love to be nailed to the rail to play this. That way he can get up the table for the 4. Watch the scratch.
Trouble with...
Where's the cue ball going?
That's the one I was looking for. I hit the wrong button. But that was always on. Commentators never wrong. He had to watch the line. And of course, with ball in hand, Stubbs very limited in what he can do. But the scratch was a high percentage scratch. So this is going to be an interesting finish to this rack. Let's see from the other side, because I think that yeah, that combo's not been nudged. It's still exactly the same, but it may well not be there in the not too distant future. And we're going to get a wee bit of tactics here. Well, that changes things, because there's no combo there now, or no possible combo. And I don't know whether you hit that. Don't think he did. That makes no difference. Now, is Stubb going to lose patience and just have a blast here? This is the thing that always, I think, Stubbs' patience can end up going in a short fuse very rapidly when he starts doing things like that, and he gets lucky like that. You know, this time it worked for him. He's going to go for the break again here. And again, he has to just rely on having a shot. And he has got it. And now he's got this 9 and 6 to tie the match. I don't recall seeing a lot of the other guys taking big risks to try and break out balls. I haven't noticed an awful lot of that. Stubbs, on the other hand, he will do it. And on that occasion it worked out, but in most occasions it's not going to work out. And once again, we've got a dry break. Now what ball's that he's potting? Is that the 11? Yeah, for the 4 in the side. We've got the 10 and 5. He's just trying to hold for the 10. We've got a 9, and then you've got to get up the table. Back up the table for the 6. I'm looking for the other ones. You've got the 7 and 8 that are in the open. Now where's the cue ball ending up here? Well, that's gone into an awkward spot here. It's gone awkward because he might be forced into cutting the 6, but he's hampered over the 8 to do that. He's got the 7 in the open. It's one of these testy cuts, and he's got to manoeuvre the cue ball. He's got to get right into this cue ball for fear. I don't know whether he's trying to use the 6 ball to hold for the 8 ball back down here, or whether he is digging in. He's having to get to the rail, and that was well controlled. Again, he's going to be hampered big time. Now this is the time when you jack the cue up. Jack it right up and use the shaft to aim down the line like that on the 8 ball. Well, he's played it well. Use your W key to help you with aiming. Well, 6, and then let's have a look. That looks fairly straightforward. I think he's just a wee bit straight. Let's have a look from what he's got here. He's a bit straight. He's just pinching a wee bit here. Oh no, he's going to draw back. I thought he could have pinched a bit just to get around the corner. Oh dear. That's a big fail, because he ended up straight, but he could have pinched a wee bit, and he's trying to rescue it with a combo, and he had a glaring rack at his hands there, and he sold it to Stubb. Stubb will just play in place, 1 and 14 down the table, everything else is there. But Stubb also has to remember that he'll have to repot that 15 ball. And he has to be careful with this as well. blind pocket cut. Now, you cannot always take these for granted. You just got to make sure you've got the line, and don't let the cue ball leak away. Well, it was a poor shot from Matt. I mean, the only thing that was wrong is he ended up straight. There was nothing to stop him pinching a little angle there. The way that ball was sat, you know, he was straight on it, right? There was nothing to stop him pinching a wee bit into the right side of the pocket and just stunning and spinning it around the corner. I don't think. I think that was well on as a shot, but he tried to play the more delicate, controlled shot and ran into trouble. Again, this is to tie the match, so he's got to watch the cue ball, that he gets the cue ball good, and he's got a dodgy cut to start with. Well, this is going to be good. He's going to be in a straight in 15 ball. Perfect. Well, almost perfect. Oh, goodness me. Unbelievable. Would you believe it? And he might have got away with it. Matt's having to line up the bank. And he's way off the mark. And Stubbs get out of jail. Big time. He has escaped there. And he's going to go back into the lead. He's made some errors so far tonight, Stubb. He's made cribbage errors. He's missed balls. And after all of that, he's in the lead. And Stubbs' break came up with a ball. And, well, this table just needs to be... Again, Matt just needs to know exactly where he's going. Again, I keep saying it. I keep saying it all the time because this is exactly what you have to do. You have to know where the cribbage ball is to get you started. But then before you pot the cribbage ball, you must know where you're going next. It's a pointless exercise if all you're doing is potting the cribbage ball with no actual thought of where you're going to go. You must have that clear in your mind. So we've got 10-5. We've got balls available, but there's a bit of travelling to get to them. You've got the 13 down the bottom here, but the 2's way up the table, and that 8 balls in a bit of a line that could be a hindrance. You've got a 6 ball in the side rail. You've got a 9 ball that needs to be gotten on good. So this has got to be worked out. And be careful when you're working it out. It's not a guarantee, but that gets rid of the 9. He was good on it. And now he's a bit straight in the 6, but if he just stuns the 6 in and gets the cue ball off the rail and gets out to about here, he can nudge the 14 in and hold for the 1. And that's perfect. Now, is that the 4 ball that's there? I was thinking it was 8 ball. Let me get the... It is the 4 ball. Well, see, the problem is you've got 4 balls and 2 sets of cribbages, both at opposite ends of the table, which just means you have to get the cue ball in a good line to be able to sight that other ball. And this, for example, here, Well, he's looked at the 3, but if he takes the 13, the biggest worry is he's going to hook himself behind the 4 to get to that 2. He's now coming back to the top rail for the 12. Loads of room to get there. Needs a wee angle though. And that's fine. He can just jab this back for the 2. In fact, he doesn't need to, because I think that's the cribbage, isn't it? That's the rack. Yep. So back all square again. And now Matt's breaking from the centre. No, he isn't. He's going to the side. See, the angles, the cue ball's coming back off the pack, but the angle's always heading towards a corner pocket when you break at that angle. He's got a ball, which was the 8. The problem is the 7 ball is blocked. Right, good night, Cobra. I don't know when he said that, but thanks for joining us. Well, this table's going to need a bit of sorting out, because the problem is you can't pot the 15 ball to break out what's there, because obviously the 15 has to be the last ball, so there's trouble at the side there. You've got an easy combo with the 7 and the 12 over the corner pocket, or the 14, and then the 3 ball down the rail. So that takes care of the first cribbage. It probably would have been handy if that 14 ball had dropped as well, because it's now a blocker for the 7 ball again. Not the 7 ball. Aye, the 7 ball, and then 8 ball's on the spot, I think. Now, this time I would think that he may well use the 7 ball to pot the 14. I don't know whether he wants to run off the rail and pot the 14. Well, he is trying to get the breakout. Well, he's on the 2, and he can cut it in and come up the table for the 13. He's got the 7 in an open pocket now, and the 8 ball's there. But there's nothing doing on this side at the moment. You know, that 6 ball's too tight. Well, he's got to make sure he stays clear. He's drawn away from the 8 so he can get into the open. He's just got to make sure he misses the 4. He doesn't want to get into this too much and finish down here. Well, he didn't miss the 4, and he's ended up hooking himself, but I think he should be able to get out of this. I mean, I'm surprised he's not playing the combo. He's trying to kick it in. He's still got a reasonable chance of this going. But he's missed it. He'd probably been better taking the combo. The combo was in a good line. Anyway, he's let Matt in. Stubb says the game's bullshit for about the 10th time so far tonight. And there's not a lot available here for Matt. He's got the... Well, he's leaving the bedhead cut in the 13. I'm a bit surprised at that. Yeah, he's missed it completely and he's fluked it into the side. What a shot that was. He never played that, I can assure you. Never in a month of Sundays did he play that shot. Missed the cut on the way up. Kicks it from behind and it goes into the side pocket. What a bonus that is. And that's going to annoy Stubb. Although, again, we've still got the same situation in the left rail. 15 balls going nowhere. And the 5 and 6 are going nowhere either. And now that adds to the problem because he's now got the 11 ball mixed in amongst them. So he just got to duck for cover here. Now Stubbs complaining because it's not a call shot game. Well, you think about it, Cribbage is very much at the early part of the rack. From the break off, a lot of it's to do with luck. I mean, it's good luck and bad luck when you think about it. If you pot 2 or 3 balls in the break, that sounds great. The problem then starts with the lay of the table as to whether you've got a cribbage ball on. If you're going to pot 2 or 3 balls in the break, the ideal start would be potting a cribbage to start with. It just means at least you've got a start. It is all down to luck in that part of the game. The rest of the game after that is all down to your ability and picking the right time to pot a cribbage ball and break out a cluster if you have to. But now the situation has changed because the 11 ball is going to allow this 5 ball to be freed up. The problem being that the 10 ball is really tight. He's bound to have a shot in the 5, but this 10 ball is just off the rail. Oh, he's potting a 4 instead. Of course he had to, because that was his cribbage ball, wasn't it? Yeah, so he's home and dry here to go back into the lead. Stubb breaking from the centre. And he's got a ball. And it was the 8. Again, like this, he just took a total blast just to get lucky. When you look at this match so far, we're halfway through the match. All the big mistakes have been made by Stubb. Pretty much the important big errors like picking the wrong cribbage ball and missed pots and stuff, and yet he still finds himself in the lead, which is a strange thing. So Matt's off and running with the first cribbage, but where he's finished here now, 4 ball is a blocker, 11 balls tied up. 4 balls blocking that pocket, 11 ball doesn't go anywhere. And he's pulling a wee bit of left just to spin this 10 in, go on the 5. And now he might try a little nudge here, because if he can nudge that 11, it's got to go along this direction towards the pocket. And he's missed it. I'm pretty certain he played for a little nudge there, and he's missed the hit. He needed to actually stun that more. He actually went with spin more. He should have stunned that in to make sure he was going to get the hit. And that's exactly what he tried. A little hit on that too. That 11 ball had to end up somewhere over this direction, and the 4 ball's there to marry up with it. And now, of course, he can see the 7. He can run the cue ball, but he can't go on the 8. I mean, the 8 ball's in no great position to go to a pocket. So he's in trouble here. Well, this is a big shot to try and get on this 8. He's trying to get on into the gap. And I think that's a pretty good shot. I think he's pretty much got there. That was well played. It was not easy. He had to avoid the traffic and he got right onto the spot. And even that little nudge there in the 13's done him no harm. 14's wide open, 1's wide open, 12 and 3 are wide open. He just has to mind his work and he should be back all square. It just needs to slow up. He doesn't want to block himself with the 1. I mean, he could still bail out with the 12 and 3 anyway, but I'm not sure whether he played for the 14 and the 1 there. But either way will do. And of course now he only needs this 3 ball to seal the deal for this rack. Well, I don't think that Matt has had any luck in the break either way. Even when he's spotted a ball, he's had nothing. I think he's had a couple this time, but look where the cue balls ended up. Now, what cribbage balls have we got? We've got the 12 and the 5, and the 5's in the open. And is that the 12 up table? Well, that's probably his best break of the night, believe it or not. And he can get to the 12. So that's a good start. This is the first break that's actually finished out nice, where he's actually had both cribbage balls available, having potted the 2 balls to start with. So he's got to take advantage of this. 11 and 4 are available. What ball's that up there? The 14. Well, again, if you were working in and around this area, the 14 and the 1 is available. The 1's up the table. You've just got to find a way to get the cue ball out of there, but I don't think you'll be playing that anytime soon. Can you see enough of that 7? I think you can just squeeze past there to get the 7. And 8 balls next to the 1. Well, the fact that he's on the 4, I would suggest he would take the 4 first. The only reason I say that is because of where the 2 is. When you're playing the 11 at a distance there's always that chance that you fall short and you end up hooking yourself behind the 2. So I think this is a better way to go about it. Take the 4 and get the cue ball into the table. Now he's just overcooked that. A wee bit too much juice off the spin. And this is a wee tricky one, a tester, this 11 ball. When he's got to get the cue ball into the table again if he wants to be having a straightforward enough shot to get his next cribbage here. And now it's gone funny. Now he's got problems. He's got a 1 ball he can pot. But the problem is, again, you're going from one end of the table to the other, so you need to play a really good shot to get anywhere near this 14. And I think he might have overdone it, or has he played it perfect? He's got there. How's my replay not working? Oh, is it the did I leave it on the replay? Sorry about that, guys. I was too busy focusing the game. All right, Albie. I'm again. I didn't even see it in the game chat. I was so focused in the game. I'm so engrossed in it. I do apologise. But anyway, Matt's gone back into the lead. I'm going to have to pay a bit more attention. I'm sorry. I do focus so much on the table. I do get. I'm so focused on where the next ball is and all of that stuff. I forgot I'd done a replay and hadn't reset the cam. And then I was wondering why the replay wasn't working. It's because I'd left it stuck in the replay. Well, there's another dry break for Matt. Stubb back in, looking to try and get this all square again. So 4 ball and a little draw back for the 11 into the same pocket. And no, he's not. He's deciding against it, looking for the 1 and 14, which are wide open. Let's have a look at what we have here. 14. Now, what's the angle he's got? Again, he's going to have to get control of this cue ball. He's the wrong side in this 4 ball. He's the wrong side of it, and if you go forward and try and come around, you're into trouble. If he's played the cut on it, he's going to hit the 8 and doesn't know that he's going to have a shot in the 4. This is now just threatening to go funny. He can't see the 12 to pot it. So this will be a good shot to stay on the 4, and he has done. But again, it's one of these tricky ones. He can't afford to do an awful lot with the cue ball other than make sure he pots this. And that's no guarantee that he's going to have another good shot after it. Chances are it'll maybe be the 3 and then the 12. Because if the cue ball finishes anywhere in the open table this side, he can cut the 3. But he hasn't got there. He may well play the combo. Again, if he plays the 12, he's going to either have to go right around and make sure he comes out, or if he tries to be fancy, he can try and go to the rail and come into the 9. So this is where you have to be, again, making your mind up what you're going to do here. It's a bit of a thinner cut to make it really comfortable to come around and into this 9 ball and just open that 3 ball up. Or, as I say, avoid the 9 ball and try and get around and into the table so you can see the 3. So that's his 2 shot choices here. Well, he's tried to leave the combo, but the biggest mistake of all is he hasn't potted the ball. And that's just getting out of light now. He's not happy at all now. So that leaves the 9-3 combo for Matt. And this isn't over yet, considering where the 6 ball is and the fact that Matt needs everything. So he's just going to run down the table, get good There isn't any problem. He's looking around. He's just a wee bit straight in this 6. He just wants to get right through, though. The further he goes through, the more he opens the angle in the 9. Now, again, with this shot, he's stuck to the rail, so can't do anything with the cue ball other than pot this 9. He has to watch the pace that he doesn't come into this corner pocket. And he's going to have to take the 7 first, I think, because that's the simplest way of getting to the 8 and coming around onto the 15. Well, he's looking at the 8, but there's no way that's the comfortable shot to get good on this 15. And remember, he needs to pot the 15 twice. Now that's fine, because all you're doing is stunning the 8 in and holding the cue ball. It's just like a draggy kill shot, just like that. And once again, make your mind up where you're going. It looks like, to me, one way's forward and around. As long as you get this side up by the middle pocket, you should be good to go. So for the first time in the match, it's MC-CLARKY that takes a 2-rack lead. 8 racks to 6. And once again, Matt's came up dry. This is probably one of the most frustrating games, I think. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think this is the most frustrating, one of the most frustrating games, considering the way the game's set up. The fact that you have to pot, you break and you pot a ball or a number of balls, and you must pot one of the other combination balls to progress. And then the frustration part is that you never come up with a shot. And you get 2 or 3 racks where that's happening. The even more frustrating part is coming up with a break where you don't have a ball in the break at all, and then you watch your opponent come in and run the table and get 5 cribbages from the off. It must be really infuriating. And to be able to play the game and block that all out of your head, it's a big ask. And right now, Stubb is ranting. And there's too many F's in this chat. He is ranting 10 to the dozen. So Stubb, with his second cribbage ball, looking around. Well, again, that is bounced. Perfect for him. The double kiss off the 12. He's got the 12 and the 3 right next door to him. Now he wants to get rid of that 10 ball. There's no reason he can't take the 10 ball next and run up the table for the 5, because the 10 ball blocks the 1 and the 9's in the open up table. So stands to reason that the one thing you want to do is pot the cribbage ball, the 3, get the cue ball out to about there, and pot the 10, and maybe whether you need to check the cue ball a bit so that you get up to about here on this 5 ball. This has to go right now if you don't want to try doing stuff up this end of the table. So he's nudged the 1 and held for the 10, which obviously frees up the pocket now. And he hasn't scratched, and he's got on the 5. So now what does he do? Does he try and get in behind this 6 ball? Doesn't look as if he is, though. I mean, he's got the 11 and 4, but the 4's blocked. Now he's had a nudge at the 6. And again, it's landed perfect for him. I mean, there's where your luck comes into it. I mean, luck big time there. I don't see him typing any of that in the chat. So Stubb rescues the rack with a good run of the ball back to within one, and I'm sure he's got a ball in the break, which what was it, the 4, and he's on the 11. Now, if you can get a run, starting like this, where balls seem to fall into place for you, it's the one thing that you have to take full advantage of. And Stubb will take the advantage of that when we say that he can pop balls. He's made, more potting errors tonight than we've seen for a while, but he needs to hold it together now to make sure he stays in touch with Matt. I'm looking to see what he's got here. I mean, he's got an easy combo, a 13-14 combo, and he's got the one down the table here. There is no problem playing that. And he's looking at the 8 instead and stunning across for the 7. Well, he's going to hook himself here, is he? I think he's okay. The only problem is he's pretty straight in the 7. But there was no reason why he couldn't have played the 13-14 and cut the 1. But I suppose you could say he's dealing with slightly more awkward situations at the top end of the table first. The way these are sitting now, he won't need any 13-14 combo. He can get over the line with what's there, as long as he can keep the cue ball under control. Good evening to Dwight, and good evening to anybody else who might have joined us. This was one of these last-minute matches where they both eventually decided they were going to play one another about an hour before the match started. And luckily I was here and awake at the time. No, I was blowing my nose and having a cough. A long one. This is what happens when these things are late at night. My brain shuts down. My body clock automatically switches off at 8:30 and tells me I should be in bed, and the brain goes, and other bodily functions cease to work. I won't go into any further detail, but I think Matt's well, that was a clever little shot in the fact that he played it at that pace to make sure he get the combo ball out the way there to free up the pocket for the 5. But the other problem is the 4 is a blocker and the 11's tied up, and the 15 ball's no good where it's sitting. I mean, it doesn't do anything where it's sitting, and 2 and 6 are tied up. So this rack is very much in the balance, and Matt has given serious thought to this. Well, what one is he doing here? It's 13-2. Well, again, he's got to get control of this cue ball rather sharpish to keep the cue ball free, and I don't know whether he can do that without colliding with something here with this angle. This 15 ball is in the way, and that was always going to be the issue. I mean, it was just such a tight space he was in, and it could cost him the rack. Now, of course, playing that shot, it looks good, but not when the incoming player can have ball in hand in the kitchen. You know, any other game that was a good safety, but not in cribbage it isn't. You're pretty much dead and buried if you don't make the companion ball, unless there's lots of balls tied up. You're more or less losing the rack, and I would say the odds are heavily on the fact that Stubb should be going into the lead. It should be 3 racks in a row for Stubb here. I'm in my day off tomorrow. I finished my work this morning, so I've had the rest of the day to myself, and then I've got tomorrow off and Thursday off. But as I say, Thursday a match must start at 7 PM and no later. Anything that starts later than 7 PM, I ain't doing it, because it could run for 2.5 hours, and you know, that's getting too late at night for me to be up at 4 in the morning. So I'm not going to be starting a stream that I can't finish. Now, of course, Stubb needs that 6 ball, because Matt is on 3 cribbages. Stubb's on, well, about to be on 3, and he's trying to get on that short side of the 6, and that's a good shot, and that's sealed the rack for him. Oh, I've misread that. Yeah, what time am I up tomorrow? My body clock will get me up about round about 5:30 or something like that. Because I'm usually, on my days off, I get up at that time about maybe 6, 6:30, and I come in and play some cowboy with the guys. The guys from the States that are on late at night, we get maybe 2 or 3 games in before they go to bed. Well, the latest news is Stubb has won 3 racks in a row. Is now into a 9 racks to 8 lead. He's came up dry. Matt's been left in an ugly spot. I don't know whether he can pot the 11. Well, he can. And he can also then make an easy combo with the 8 and 4. Now that's dead set, so there's no worries there. Now, what else have we got in the open here? Well, we've got a 13 and a 2 down the table as a bit of a bailout. You see, these are handy been there because they're something you can fall back on if you can't get yourself in good shape up here. You know, he's got an 8-7, an 8-5 combo, and he can play the 10 ball. No, he can't because the 2's blocking it. He would have to get the cue ball on a very short side of the 10, so forget that idea. Well, he's trying. I'm not sure about Matt's thinking there because whatever he did do, it was always going to be very tight into the side pocket. And that shot there could very much have a big bearing on the way this match is taking shape. And he's tried an extremely difficult combo with a 6 to get that 10 into the side, and he's got to maybe be. I think he might have had to rethink what he was doing there. It was a tall order to get really good on that 10 ball. Remember what I said, the 2 ball blocking the path for the 10 into this corner. So that's why I thought better of it, you know, looking at the way the table was set. And now the question is whether Stubb can take full advantage and give himself daylight heading towards the business end of the match. Oh, there's no. I get what you mean now, Potman. There's no way on earth I would have streamed this match or started streaming it if I was at work tomorrow. You know, there's not a hope in hell's chance of that happening. In fact, I probably wouldn't have been in the lobby. I probably would have been just about going to bed at the time. I think it was just about. It was just after 9 o'clock that Matt told me they were possibly going to be playing, and then I said to Stubb because it wasn't on the schedule. So I says, you know, get it on the schedule, then I know it's definitely happening. Which they eventually did. Cue ball running loose. Well, that's gone slightly awkward. Now, can he see enough of that 7? He's looking at a thin edge in the 8, but this has to miss the 7 ball clean. And that was always going to be the problem. He had to miss that completely, and it was such a tight cut that he couldn't do a lot with the cue ball. So now he's trying the reverse bank, and he's not got an awful lot of room to work with. He's got to get past that 3 ball. And suddenly, this rack may well have taken another turn. So Matt has ball in hand if he wants it. although he might not bother because the 10 ball goes in, the 5 ball's in the open. Now, is that the 14? No, it is the 10. 14's down here, so Matt's got problems to deal with here. The problem being the tight area that he's having to work in. And this will be a good rack to get. He's got to keep this cue ball in a tight rein, and then he's got to have some sort of nudge one way or another. And straight away, he's got to get on a spot if he's going to try and take the 8 and 7. Oh, that's good. He's got himself onto the combo for the cribbage, the 14. Well, now he's pretty much forced into taking the 3. So this will decide the rack, I think. If he can get on the 12 somewhere or another, and that'll do. But it's not done and dusted yet. The 15 ball is just a hindrance where it's sat. And he's got to get right on the spot. Now again, it looks so easy. But you'd be amazed at how much this 15 ball gets inside your head. And he's just trying to nudge it out of the way, and that's perfect. Well, this is a good rack to win for Matt because Stubb was looking favourite, but he didn't get himself squeezed. He was remember, he was trying to cut the thin 8 ball to just bring the cue ball past and missed the 7, ran into the 7, and left himself a difficult bank. Missed that, and that gave Matt his chance, but it was still not an easy table to get his way out. And he done well to get there. And this time, he's had 2 balls in the break. He's got the 2 cribbage balls. Well, this has landed plumb because the 6 and 3 are both off in opposite corner pockets. He couldn't have asked for a better break there as far as that goes to get him started. But he's got clusters that he's trying to break out. Well, that's even worked as well because he's hooked. He's Chinese snookered over the 8 ball. Can you see the 2? Oh, I think he's going to have to take the 8, but he's going to have to move this cue ball, and he has to avoid traffic if he's going to get a shot in the 7. And that's why he's missed the 8. It was awkward, and Stubb has been reprieved. Well, this is it's suddenly gone funny already for Stubb because if he's taking the 5, he's going to have to get a good roll here if he's going to have a shot in the 10. If he's taking the 4, he can't get the 11 because that's blocked. And that's the 13. Where the hell's the 11? It's locked over here, so that, I mean, he's running into the 15. And now he's going to be blasting this to get the cut done on the 10. I don't know whether he's going to be able to get around the corner and out clean. Well, shot in the 2, 13 in the open. But of course, both players will need these balls here. And that's the clincher. That's going to decide the rack. Well, again, Stubb has taken his eye off the ball. What he was trying to do there, it looked worse than it was. He was potting the 2, but he was more concerned about how he was leaving himself the 13 to try and break out those 2 balls in the side rail. That's why he missed the 2. His focus was on the shape on the 13 ball to do that. And in the meantime, Matt hasn't been vigorous enough to get into these 2 balls, and he's locked in 11. And again, Stubb has been reprieved. And Matt trying to run through on this 2 ball. He's trying to run through with force follow. That's what he's trying. This will be some shot. This is like a cowboy shot. Yeah, very difficult. The general idea there, he just didn't get the line. But that's a shot that we play all the time in cowboy when you're playing caroms and stuff like that. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. It's a bit late. What time is it here now? 1:45 to midnight. Well, it now looks on the knife edge as to where this rack's going to go. Because that 4 ball is not in an easy spot. And that is a good shot from the point of view that he had the right idea. He's still left with one of these dodgy, awkward cuts. And there's a bit of pressure on it. I think with this shot, you've just got to completely focus on the pot and don't worry about the cue ball. You're bound to be able to have some sort of cut in the 2. But, having said that, though, the cut in the 2 is now really awkward. I think he would have much preferred if he'd been able to see the 13. And there's not an awful lot he can do with this other than come across the table twice and leave the cut in the 13, which is not a gimme. But this will give him the lead and get him into double figures. So his cuts tonight in these pressure pots, he's been a wee bit twitchy on them. Well, this time, no doubt. So Stubb with the break. Needs 3 more to survive. 14 ball goes in. 1 ball is in the table. And the 1 ball can be cut. And he'll be slamming into the 15. But he won't have an awful lot else available. He's trying to hold, I think, for the 12 and 3 there. He's on the 12, but he's not great on it. He's got too much angle on it for comfort to be able to have a shot in the 3. Now, that 3 ball is tight past the 11, but he's got certainly more of the pocket than he had when he was trying to squeeze that 1 ball into this corner earlier in the match. But I think that's all that he's really got to go for here. He's double checked that it goes, but he's got to really get right behind it to make it a much easier pot. And that's pretty good. I mean, it could have done me going another inch or 2, but it's as good as he's going to be. And now, of course, he's doing the right thing. He's looking at where he's going next, because he's got problems with blocking balls again. The 5 balls there, the 10 balls tied up. The 8 and 7 are not easy to get to. And this is one of these racks where it's so easy to just run into trouble where, you know, you just simply don't have the next shot on. And he's looking and looking, but there is not an awful lot available. I mean, he's got the 9 ball. I need to. I mean, and again, he's way too straight in the 9 ball. He would have to slam this in and run the cue ball big time, or draw off it big time, and that risks missing the pot. He's got to get this right around the table to get below the 6. And that's a good shot. That's pretty much dead on. So 6 ball for the third cribbage. And again, this is one of these points you get to in a lot of cribbage racks where you've got the rack at your mercy, but you still have to get some sort of breakout. And you can win or lose the rack on that single shot. Now, this is why he's looking at the 2 for the nudge. And the nudge has worked out. He's now freed up the 13 for the cribbage, and he's freed up the 10 ball for the 5. And he's going to be in a 2 rack lead, and we're running out of racks. So, no prizes for guessing. 10 ball up the table, 5 ball wide open. Not a doubt that this is going to give him that 2 rack lead. Just needs to get up the table far enough. And now, if you're in Matt's corner, all you're sitting thinking is, come up dry. He needs this to come up dry, but Stubbs had at least 2, if not 3 balls in the break. He might have had a cribbage. No, he hasn't, but he's got to pot either the 5, the 3, or the 2. Well, the 3's over the side. And he needs to be thinking about dropping up table nice and soft and trying to get behind that 5 ball, because that has to be the ball he gets next. Now, he's actually on the right side of the 2. I'm not sure that was the best idea, but it might work out for him. But that won't. I think he should have potted that 3 in the side and stayed below the 5. That way he was surefire to have a shot up the table in the 5. And Stubbs looking around here. He's not looking at the 5. And I don't know whether Stubbs. It seems to me that he's not quite sure of where he's going about. I'm sure that he realises now he's played, you know, just a deliberate shot to lock the balls up. But he made the first mistake there when he potted the 3 in the side and didn't just gently drop it in to make sure he stayed on the top side of that 5 ball. I don't think there's a lot to stop him getting to the rail or onto the rail and dropping behind the 5 for it up the table. So he's got sometimes a strange way of doing things, and for his sake, he's left Matt with a lot of problems to deal with. I'll have a quick drink. This looks a proper mess now. Yeah, I don't know. That was the best idea either, Matt, because he's had a pot in the 8 to try and break out the 7. But luckily, obviously, the table's a mess, so he took the risk. But there wasn't an awful lot to be gained from it. And you would think out of the two players, the one that will lose patience sooner than the other is definitely Stubb. Now you can just drop onto the 7 ball, kick the back ball onto the rail and back to the line like that. Well, this could take a little while to resolve itself. It depends on who wants to take the big risk. Well, that's, the thing is Stubb won't give you a straight answer, Albie. I'm sure he must have understood he had to pot the 5. But what I don't understand is his way of going about it. Straight away, the fact, excuse me, the voice is going. I mean, when you came to the table, you took that 3 ball into the side, that the 5 ball wasn't going into any of the pockets up the top end of the table as we look, so you had to drop behind the 5. I mean, it seemed glaringly obvious to me. Yep, it was perfect to drop behind it. And the cue ball's spinning for half an hour here. My voice is going to crack before the end of the night. Well, this is it's all going to be down to this line of balls. And MC-CLARKY's future in the tournament is pretty much hanging by a thread at the moment, because the obvious thing is we have an easy cribbage here, and to me, if you were going to be aggressive to win the rack, you've got to leave yourself the angle in the 6 to try and get into these balls, and it's make or break for Stubb here, but it could give him the 3 rack lead and, more importantly, put him on the hill, and he's went around the corner to do it. And he's took a big risk doing that he would ever be able to still see the 6, but there you go, he's got lucky again. Now this is going to need another stun on to the 10, or stun on through to the 5 and split the 2 of them for the 7, because anything he does do is going to have him hitting these balls. It's then going to be down to luck again as to whether he's going to see the 7. Now, if he is, he's going to come well away from it and end up table with a cut. And he's brushed in the middle, and he's finished awkward. And this is the big pressure pot of the night, because it's going to take him to the hill. And then it's long odds that MC-CLARKY is going to survive this. So Stubb now, one away with the break. And I think it's dry. Well, if your game is going to turn on its head, this is the time for it to happen. Stubb's dry. Matt's got, well, play in place or ball in hand. I think he's chose play in place. So the 10 and 5. We've got the 8 and 7 on the right side. Not a problem there. We've, if he takes the 5, he could take the 11 along that top rail, just into the top left-hand corner and get the cue ball out for the 4 into the side. It doesn't look as if he's doing that. And if he's played for the 7, he's fell short. Well, he's on the 11. He's just got to make sure he comes out clean. And, of course, at the risk of stating the obvious, it's no miss for Matt from here on in. Oh, he's hit the knuckle. And he's gone awkward against the 7. Well, that little brush in the 12's done him no harm. How tight's this 8 ball? It's well off the rail, so no problem there. But his next cribbage has got to probably be the 13 and the 2. The 2's the one that's slightly awkward to get to. Again, does he want to get right down onto this bottom rail off the 13 if he's got the angle? It needs to miss everything. Well, he can pot the 13 and he's going to have to leave the long cut in the 2. It's going to have to be the bedhead cut. I don't think he should risk doing anything fancy. I mean, he's got enough angle there to get the cue ball around, but he can't afford to go too far up the table. He's looking and looking and looking, but you've only got one shot on that I can see. So he has to leave it. Well, he's trying his best to get the cue ball right up the table again. I mean, he's almost got there, but I don't think that was a shot. I think he had to get the cue ball just out to here where he can play the cut. Because the chances are he would have ran into the 6 and the 14 and probably had another cribbage out of it. And that could be his last shot. I think he'd have been far better just to take his medicine, pot the 13 and get the cue ball around to somewhere there where he could at least get the cut. He was guaranteed to have the cut if he got it there. He wasn't guaranteed to try and, you know, work miracles with the cue ball and get right on the spot. Well, Stubb has just made a proper boo-boo there. He didn't even give it a second thought to look at a combo. And Matt breathes again. Oh, that was a poor piece of cribbage there from Stubb. Well, there's certain things happening that, I mean, I don't know whether Matt, with his last shot, had to be tried to be as accurate as he was going to be there. You've got to play the percentage shot, even though it's a more difficult cut from a distance. I think it's a surefire way that he still had a shot. The other way he did it wasn't never guaranteed he was going to have a shot on it. Well, that is a a fortunate little kiss there, I think, because he's clean on the 14. Loads of room to get on the 1. But Matt needs to get some sort of disturbance on these 2 balls, and he's got nothing really adjacent to do that. Oh, he didn't need to. Again, I'm totally focusing the table, and I'm forgetting about the fact that he didn't need to break the balls. Well, you'd have to ask Stubb that. Well, what a break for Matt there. He's spotted 3 balls. He needs the 11. Is that the 10 and the 9? And he can see the 9. The 10's over the corner pocket. The 11's in the open here. They're all there to make the 3 cribbages. I mean, seriously, I don't know whether Stubb does know he can play. I'm sure he does. And I'm surprised he didn't play the combo there rather than trying to kick at the ball. I mean, you've got to just play the shot that'll at least give you a fair chance of the ball going in, you know. So this is the last of the 3 cribbage balls that Matt had to make, but he's more concerned about where his next one's coming from. And he's got a 12 and 3 ball available. The 3 ball, again, you just have to get down onto the spot and avoid running into traffic. But to do that, he needs to get good on this 12. Well, I'll tell you something. That was not in the plan. He was trying to get down for the 3 to come up for the 12 there. And I think he'd be a liar if he denied that. But he'll take it. He will take whatever he gets. He's in last chance saloon. And he's just got to take whatever he can get to survive. And now, well, he's now awkward here. I mean, the 14 is a little jabby shot into the side to leave the cut in the 1. This will give him the rack. He will be back within 1. So it's 2 in a row for Matt, and again, he must get a good break. And this time, it's dry, but this time there are 3 clusters, 3 sets of balls all tied up. There's a 9 ball and a 6 ball down the bottom here, but the 9 balls get a bit more cut than you would like. The 8 and 7 are in the open, and the 10 and 5 are in the open, so there are 3 cribbages here for Stubb. And he was trying to hold good for the 6. He's left himself, again, a really tight cut. The cue ball's running all over the place. And he's now created 1 more cluster of 2 balls, although having said that, the 8 and I think, what ball's over the side? That's the 10 and the 8 together, but both of them go. Well, this match, there's a possibility of going all the way here. And the next few shots are going to determine that. And I don't know, Stubb cutting the 7. Yeah, he's cutting it into the corner. That was a good shot. And he's guaranteed a shot in the 8. Well, now, if he wants to, he can try and do some damage here and go for the win. And you would feel he has to. It's not a great angle, but I think he's got to do something to move something, because he needs Cribbages to win this rack. And it's no good the way they're all sitting there. I mean, to be honest with you, if he makes the cribbage here, he can just drop through for the 5. But now he's trying to break out. That's freed up the 13 and gives him another cribbage. That he's now on the 2 for the 13. He's going 13 first to get into the middle. Nope, he's not even risking that. So the only other one, there's 2 more that are a possibility here, and that's the 14 and the 5 with the 10 and the 1. And so it's just a little drop through, totally dead weight here. And he's got a bit more angle than he would like on this 10. But he's got... Now, what's he doing here? Oh, he's just managed to get out for the 12. And this will take him to 4. And then he's got the 10 and the 5. Or the 14 and the 1. But these are the 2 important balls to get good on to win this match. And he's pretty straight, but he's just trying to... I'm not exactly sure what he was trying to do, because this is... let me have a look at the 14. Does it go? The 14 goes, so there's no... And I think the other problem is he's straight in the 1. Yeah, he's dead straight in the 1. And he couldn't have put himself in a more awkward situation here. He still needs the 1 cribbage for the match. And he's gone bolt straight in the 1 and has to get on the 14. He's trying to get around the corner and force it, and he has done. And the 14 goes clean. So it's Stubb that's going to go through to the next round of the 1 loss side. And, well, there is a story to be said about the first part of this match, because Matt kept breaking and kept coming up dry. How many breaks did he have? He certainly had 3 in a row at the start. And those are 3 precious racks that could have been his. But in the end, Stubbs had a fair roll of the ball now and again as well. He's had some crazy errors. But he found his way out, and he goes through by 13 racks to 11. So let's have a look, a quick look at the stats. Where are we? That's the one we want. If we can get to the thing. And cribbage stats, break stats, that's what we want. Runouts from the break. LS3 still in front with 6, Cobra with 5, Stubb with 4. In fact, I'll be surprised if he had any tonight, when I think about it. What was the other thing to look at? The percentage. Well, the cribbage percentage completed. Albinario way out in front, 91%. Cobra on 84, Machine on 82, LS3 on 82, Stubb on 81, Slim on 81, Matt on just under 81, and Larry's down in 79 and Tommy in 77. So I don't think there was a lot of improvement from the stats in that match, but anyway, Stubb has survived But again, you would think he's going to have to be careful. Who does he play next? Let's have a look. So Stubb is through. Well, he's pretty much got a gimme there. He's playing Ice Age, who get pummeled in the first round match, I think, or second round match against Machine. Ice Age actually got a bye because Cheeky Chico forfeited, and Ice Age is not going to be any match for Stubb. So you're pretty much giving him that match. So he's through. And then, of course, there's other matches to go ahead in the one-loss side. You've got Portman and Bedhead to arrange. There's still plenty of time for these guys to get matches played. If we look at the bracket now, we have, we've got the match set for tomorrow night. It's going to be tomorrow night at 9 PM between Albinario and One Pocket Slim. I'll be there for that. And the winner of that match is going to play Larry, who's through to round 3 after having taken out Sylvia. We've got the match with Tommy and Cobra. That's for a week tomorrow. So loads of time for that one to get played. And then, of course, the winner of that one is then going to play Machine in round 3. So that is us up to date, folks. It was a surprise match tonight, but we got it done. I managed to stay awake. So all that remains for me to say is thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with us, most of you. Some of you have had to go to bed. I'm going to go and have a coffee because I don't need to go to bed. I can have a long lie in. So I'll bid you good night. Take care, stay safe, and if you can, join us tomorrow night. And if you can't, then it'll always be on YouTube. Just remember that. And I will see you again soon.
Good night, ladies.
No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool. Nothing else.
Put 'em up, put 'em up!
What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach.